Howdy fellow sublimation peeps. In today's video we have something a little different for you. We're going to do the ultimate guide to dye subbing on wood. In a previous poll I asked you guys exactly what you wanted, and the pretty overwhelming response was an ultimate guide to dye subbing on wood. So today we're going to be subbing on wood letters, wood rounds, just a bunch of various wood things, even some pieces of wood that I cut from the miter saw. Just picked it up at Home Depot and cut it on the miter saw, primed and painted it. Hopefully it'll turn out pretty good. We're going to be using a variety of products today. We're going to be using DyePress's PolyGloss. We'll be using Polycrylic, because you can't do a wood video without doing Polycrylic. We're going to be using Oracal 651G. And we're going to be using our good pal Laminate. Which, I mean, we're just going to see how it goes. We're going to do a little bit of everything. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. To avoid making this video 2 hours long, we're going to simplify the process, and I'll explain exactly what was done. I'll be going into more detail in future videos on each process. First up, we'll be doing polycrylic. We've done videos in the past about polycrylic, and it's an easy way to print something that's not typically able to be used with sublimation. The first step is adding a primer if you wish to have a bright white base coat. For my purpose, I use Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Ultra Cover Paint and Primer in 1 for a base coat. In my experience, it doesn't seem to yellow when heated. After that has dried overnight, you can add your first coat of polycrylic. I use foam brushes from Harbor Freight to lay down a thin coat of polycrylic. Once it's dry to the touch, add a second coat and allow it to dry overnight before pressing. Now it's time to press. For polycrylic items, I usually do parchment paper on both sides, just so there's no possibility of anything sticking to the heat press. We'll be pressing at 380 degrees Fahrenheit for 100 seconds. Higher temperatures seem to yellow the poly, so 380 is the highest I would recommend. Once that's done, you may experience paper sticking to the polycrylic. If that's the case, I recommend dipping a paintbrush in water and scrubbing the surface to clean off the paper and paper residue. Once this is complete, you should be left with a nice, clean, printed surface. As for the final results, this is the pine after pressing and after cleaning. This is the log after pressing and after cleaning. And this is the large circle after pressing and after cleaning. Alright guys, I'm just going to kind of shoot this freehand with the gimbal. This is the stack we're going to be laminating. We have just a wood tag with holes pre-drilled in it. We have a wooden arrow. Naturally, it's just from Walmart, nothing special. It's either Walmart or Dollar Tree. Not sure where I got that. Wooden cross, I think from Dollar Tree. A small white wood round. I know I got these at Walmart. This one's primered. It's got the coat of primer on it. A larger wood round. Let's see. Another smaller wood round. This one's not primered. It was a medium wood round from Walmart, primered. A rectangle plaque with primer. One of the Walmart MDF coated letters. This one is primered. We did this one a little earlier. And also the piece of wood that we got cut from the miter saw, also primered. First, let's go with what kind of laminate we're using. We're using Pen Gear laminating pouches, 5 mil, and these come in a 20 pack. You can get them at Walmart. First things first, we're going to want to put down our parchment paper on both sides, just in case. You don't want anything sticking to your heat press if you can help it. So we'll go ahead and put that down. Put that down. Put our picture frame down. We're going to do that first. And these are slightly thicker. You can see that they're that they have a laminate. Let's see. And there's our heat press. And what you can do, you can take them like that, and you can tear them. That way you have two sheets. and you want to put the texture side down, and see it'll kind of, you can feel it kind of stick. We'll go ahead and cover it. Oh, that's too much. And we're going to go ahead and press it with kind of light pressure for 30 seconds. And you should. And there we go. Now, we'll go ahead and pause it and we'll do the next part. We're going to go ahead and repeat the laminate process across the rest of the items. The 3 key things to making laminate successful are, number 1, use a lower heat. 320 degrees for 30 seconds gives the laminate adequate tack without overheating it. Number 2, use the correct side of the laminate. If you notice when you pull the laminate across a surface, one side tends to have a little more grab than the other, and that's definitely the side you want to put face down, the side that has more grab. This is the adhesive on the laminate, and it'll allow it to tack to the surface. If you do it wrong, it will likely just fall off the surface altogether, and you'll have to redo it and probably use a new piece of laminate. And number 3 is use parchment paper to avoid a mess. If you try to do this with regular butcher paper, you may have a bad time. Parchment paper will avoid the mess, and the melted laminate will not stick to it. Now, something worth mentioning is if you have something that can potentially cover multiple pieces, what you can do is you can take a second piece and just butt it up against the edge. There we go. Let's do just like that. Just like that. That'll work. That way we're covered. And that way you eliminate any overlaps, but you can sub on the whole thing. Alright, now when we're cutting this, we just take our knife, just push down hard and just kind of trace it. You could also do this with a wheel cutter. Matter of fact, it would probably be easier than what I'm doing. And then you just peel it right off. There we go. And there we go, a laminated piece ready to print. So we're going to go ahead and repeat this process and get the rest of them going. Alright guys, we got it taped. We're doing the laminate next. Once again, same thing. Parchment paper, butcher paper. 380 at 100 seconds. Hopefully the laminate actually sticks pretty well. We'll see how it goes. Shoot. Not gonna lie, the laminate's kind of gorgeous. The laminate's kind of gorgeous. Outside of it being really glossy, that laminate is gorgeous. Like, you trim up those edges a little bit. Like, that's the way, dude. Like, look at that. Like, if you pre-trim the edges like I did, that's the way to do laminate. Oh, that's my new way to do laminate. That is considerably better than the polycrylic. Alright guys, and that's how you do laminate. We'll go ahead and do the laminate on the remaining pieces, and we'll show you how those look, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the Oracal and also the PolyGloss. Just a note about the Oracal 651G, I personally was not able to successfully print on wood with it. It would just stick to the paper more than it would the wood, and it was just a pain in the butt to get off. I know there are several YouTubers that have successfully done this, so maybe I'll review those videos and see if there's something I just missed on it. But for now, Oracal 651G is a fail for me. Alright guys, we're going to go through a condensed process of how to use DyePress PolyGloss. Step 1 is to mix 1 milliliter of catalyst per ounce of PolyGloss. Luckily they include a syringe and measuring cup for this, and you have to use this within 18 hours, otherwise it'll all harden up on you. The next step is clean the substrate with water. Step 3 is to apply 1 thin coat of the poly mixture with a brush or sprayer. In this case, we used a brush. The workspace you're using should be at least 65 degrees Fahrenheit. If you get in any bubbles, what you can do is you can put Tupperware above it, and it'll the bubbles will take care of themselves, and it'll kind of level itself and pop the bubbles. Once the polygloss is dry, you can cure the substrate in an oven or on the heat press with parchment paper and light pressure. We took the heat press approach, and we used 340 degrees for 12 minutes with parchment paper. After that, the polygloss is ready to sublimate on. Alright, last up but definitely not least, we have the polygloss, and it's going to do the same SpongeBob thing. We're prepping it the same. We're going to put that down. I didn't get a good coat of primer on this one, so if it's light in spots, that's on my prep. Because the polygloss edition was kind of last minute. That's kind of why this video is taking so long to shoot too. Because I just derped around and took forever to do anything. Alright, we got our polygloss ready. I'm really rooting for this because I think this might be the best. Alright, pressing at 380 at 100 seconds. Locking down the pressure. Alright guys, got about 10 seconds left. We're going to go ahead and glove up. I don't really know what to expect. This is the first piece I've ever done with polygloss. So let's see how it goes. We definitely have sublimation. Oh. Wow. Alright, we're going to... Alright guys, the polygloss. Look at that. That's wood. Like, look at that. That knot kind of messed me up because it's a high spot. It didn't get good pressure on it. But other than that... Dude, polygloss is insane. There's one little spot. I don't think I coated it good enough right there. Because it does feel a little different than the rest of it. That is good stuff. Polygloss is freaking amazing. Alright guys, next up we're going to be doing log grounds. And on these we're just going to do pictures of the biscuit. The pup. And I like doing log grounds in black and white. I think it just adds a little character. So we're just going to center the center up pup as good as we can on it. Tape them into place. I'm going to resist the temptation to do multiple of these at a time. Because they could vary in thickness slightly, and that would be a hot mess is what that would be. So yeah. That's going to be a little too thick to do, so. There we go. That flew up faster than I thought. That looks gorgeous based on what I see. Let me glove up though. Wow. All right, let's take a little bit of water. All right, what we're doing, we're taking water and we're just kind of wiping it. I need a freaking spray bottle of water. All right, let's do that a little bit better. Yeah, the A-sub paper does stick a little bit, but that's what you end up with. And this is the PolyGloss, and it prints pretty darn good. Alright guys, next up we're doing the PolyGloss white primered circle. And we're doing a fall decoration on it. We're just going to center it the best we can. Looks really good. Where's our tape? There's our tape. Just going to tape them on there. Gonna put 2 pieces just to keep them lined up. Flip them over. And we're doing parchment paper on both sides and then butcher paper on both sides of it just because I'm paranoid. So we do that. Oh, that's way too much pressure. That's still too much pressure. That's the right amount of pressure. Alright. Ooh, he stuck bad. Good Lord, it's stuck. I don't know whether we put too much pressure and burned it. Okay. That's not bad. Is that PolyGloss or is that polycrylic? That's PolyGloss, that's why. That looks good. Bruh. PolyGloss is the way, y'all. You heard it here first. We're going to start out with these little circles, and we're going to do a piece of butcher paper, a piece of parchment paper, and then we're going to put our laminate piece down. Another laminate. We're going to put our polycrylic one down. And we're going to put our PolyGloss one down. And all these are going down. So there we go. And we're going to put our other piece down. And we're going to put, last but not least, our coat of butcher paper. Make sure we got enough tension on them. And I'm pressing these at 380 for, I think it's 90 seconds, 100 seconds. Let's go a little harder on the pressure. Here we go. Shoo. It's got a mixture of smells coming out of that thing. Wow. That's the laminate, okay. This must be laminate too. Golly, laminate looks so good. This one's PolyGloss. PolyGloss looking good too. Oh my goodness. And then you got polycrylic looking okay, but usually polycrylic looks better after a little water sprayed on it. And all I'm doing is I'm dipping the a paintbrush in water, and you see how bad that is. You just scrape around, and it'll actually get the paper residue off doing this. And see, get us some microfiber. And there we go. And this is the polycrylic. But man, that laminate though. But if you really want to do apples to apples, there's If you really want to do apples to apples, laminate, polycrylic, and PolyGloss. on the letters, there's no real comparison. If you look at them side by side, look how much better the colors are on the laminate. The laminate colors are just so much more vibrant, and it was way easier to do. So if you're doing primered letters, absolutely do laminate. In this particular example, you can notice a big difference between the polycrylic one, how there's like blotchiness in the color, and the color is not as strong as, say, this one. Inconsistent. This one here is laminate, and this one is the polygloss. And you can notice just how much better and more consistent the colors are. Not that the polycrylic's bad, and the flaw look maybe even might be what you're going for, but yeah, this is a good comparison of the three right here. All right, on the SpongeBob key holder, the top one's polycrylic. As you can see, it's a little bit of a mess. Some of the paper stuck. The knot looks really bad. The next one is polygloss. It looks pretty good overall. I didn't coat it quite enough on this edge. That's my bad. That's not the product bad, but overall it's really good. And then the laminate at the bottom, which if you take your time and get your edges good on the laminate, looks pretty decent. Overall, the laminate looks really good too. So laminate and polygloss look pretty good. The polycrylic's it's lackluster. All right, on these, the one on this bottom left down here, that's the polygloss. Overall, it looks fantastic. The polycrylic doesn't look as good. It still looks pretty good. Like, if you didn't know any better, the polycrylic looks fine. And then the laminates look really good. The polycrylic is not primered. So that's why the colors are a little bit off. But otherwise, the polygloss is just as good. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get into the results, which is what everybody's after anyway. For the Oracal 651G, it stuck a little too bad to the paper to actually be useful. The vinyl just come right off with the paper. So I have a hard time recommending that, at least the way I did it. Didn't work. I know there are videos definitely where it does work. Next up we have the polycrylic, which if you're wanting something that actually looks more like wood, I think polycrylic may be the way to go. Let's see, because as you can see here, like, it actually looks like it's printed on wood. There's not like an artificial gloss to it. It looks like it's actually printed on the wood. And for a lot of things like black and white photos, this may be desirable, so polycrylic may work out for you on that. On a lot of things, it just left a kind of a dull image compared to like polygloss. I mean, there's a big difference there in the image. But yeah, polycrylic's good stuff, and I've released multiple videos on it. It's still a good solution, but it may actually be the third best solution. Next up is polygloss. Polygloss is actually really good. I tried it on multiple things, and you can see that while it's a good balance between laminate and polycrylic, I feel like, because it actually feels like wood. I know you can't feel it on camera, but it has a very low gloss to it. But the print quality is way better than polycrylic. It's pretty much on par with laminate. It's just it's a lot more steps and a lot more hassle to do, and it takes more time than just throwing laminate on it. But PolyGloss from DyePress, it's just a fantastic product. I mean, it's really good. Overall, it's a fantastic product, and that only leaves laminate, which laminate, it gives it kind of an artificial gloss. You can't really see it. There it is. You can see just how glossy that is, but I mean, you can do everything with it. Like, you can do like the letters with it, and it's so easy. Laminate's just so easy. Like, I was able to do this arrow very easily. Oh man, but yeah, hopefully this video gives you some insight on how to print on wood. This is probably the most time-consuming video I've done. So if you found this video helpful at all, I would really appreciate it if you could give me a subscribe and also like the video to help promote it in YouTube's algorithm. I do believe like this is the best video that's ever been done on dye sublimation on wood, because we use so many different products, and pretty much every method that you can use to print on wood we've done in this video and done a quick how-to on, and also shown the results and how they differ from each other. So guys, I really appreciate it, and once again, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Peace. And also a special shout out to DyePress for being a sponsor on this video and helping me out with some PolyGloss. I felt like it had to be included in this video because it's a product that's made for this kind of stuff, and it did not disappoint. It's fantastic, and it offers something unique that you can't get from anything else, which is a superb print quality, and it actually feels like wood still. So shout out to them, man. It's good stuff.